Hello, everybody. My name is Armando Cepeda. This is the Wedding Remix, and we are so glad you are here. We're so glad to share this amazing content with you. We're going to roll out new episodes every week as we go down this amazing journey of interviewing the best of the best in the wedding industry. Our mission is very simple. We're going to inspire, educate, and create awareness of the most amazing wedding professionals in the industry. We're going to have a great time. So here's what's going on. We're going to release a new episode every single week. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. You're going to find us all over social media. So what we need you to do is like, comment, share, subscribe, and stay connected. This week we have a great show, a great lineup for you. We have two very inspiring female entrepreneurs that are going to share their story, share their wisdom. And without further ado, let's get into it. Our first guest is none other than Jillian Ziska. Jillian's an amazing creative partner, an amazing mom, hustler, entrepreneur. She does not stop. Jillian's career in the event industry started when she launched her first planning company, Celebrations by Jillian, when she was 18 years old. Her passion for planning led to discovering her love for design and production. And almost 4 years ago, she started To Be Designed, one of San Diego's top rental, design, and production companies. Jillian consistently strives to build or fabricate new and unique pieces for her clients so they can experience a one-of-a-kind event. This means a consistently evolving collection of amazing pieces, which we are also so thankful to be able to showcase here on our beautiful set. She was recently featured on specialevents.com as one of the 25 young event professionals to watch in 2020. So please enjoy our conversation with Jillian Ziska.
Okay, well, Jillian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm good, you guys. How are you?
Good. Great. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
So we're just going to jump right into it with the speed round questions.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's take it away.
Go for it.
Who or what inspires you today?
I'm honestly going to say my husband. He is just an incredible human and super great leader, and I hope that I can continue to have the same characteristics and skills that he has. So yeah, not design-wise because he's not a designer, but you know, when it comes to just like general life, I think he would be the person.
Oh, he's gonna love that answer.
Yeah, I think so.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Flirty.
And what brings you comfort?
Oh, my bed.
What is something you're really bad at?
I'm really bad at, well, business-wise or life-wise?
One of each.
Yeah, one of each.
I can't, like throwing a ball or swimming, not my thing. And then business-wise, probably delegating, adding too much to my plate. Yeah. It's kind of normal, right?
Yeah.
What's one thing on your wish list?
To be top 40 under 40.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
What's the food that you could never give up?
Coffee. And I know that's not a food, but like it is a food for me. It's breakfast, lunch, dinner, like coffee.
All day.
All day. What chore do you absolutely hate doing around the house?
Laundry. Putting it away.
The worst.
The worst.
Folding.
Yeah, folding.
Yeah, the worst. The worst. Anything else, I'll do it.
What are 3 of your favorite places to go with your kids?
We love the zoo. We love the beach. We've been to the beach, I think, like every 3 days during quarantine. And honestly, just home. Like we just have fun playing.
Comfort.
Yeah.
If you could travel around the world and fill up a shipping container full of furniture, where are 2 places you would go?
I would love to go to Europe. I mean, anywhere in Europe, really. Just the amount of antiques that they have, but like cool antiques, not junky antiques, you know? So I'd love to go there. And then I just always wanted to go to Africa. I don't know why, that's like on my bucket list of places to go. So I think somewhere in Africa, I don't know what I would get there, but I'm sure there'd be some amazing artisan style baskets or whatever. That
You'd
would
probably
be
come
fun.
back with 2 shipping containers.
Probably, yes,
One from
yes.
each place.
So if you had to get rid of every single item in your inventory, but you could keep one thing, what would it be?
If I could keep one thing, probably our table, like one of my tables. My dad built them for me when I first started, and so they have this sentimental value, and they're kind of a staple piece for our inventory. So
You can keep everything your dad built you.
yeah, but
We'll let you go.
that one is probably the most like incredible thing that he's built.
Is that something people can rent out?
Oh yeah, the table, our Prescott tables, and they're named. So my family, I grew up on a farm, kind of. But we owned a tree farm, or my family owns a tree farm. And so the tables are named after Prescott and Homestead, which is, Homestead is our nursery, and then Prescott is just another like local farm where I grew up. So, yeah.
What are you curious about right now?
What the hell is gonna happen next in this world? Honestly, what's next? You know, like where are events gonna go? What's gonna happen to our society, to our culture? There's so much change, there's so much happening. So I think I'm just super curious and interested to learn more and where are we going?
Yeah, we'll see what happens next. What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being a genuine person that people can come to, business, personal, doesn't matter, and just this be a clean slate place where they can feel comfortable and they can also design anything that they wanted. And I don't want to be someone who just kept repeating stuff over and over. I want to be unique.
So I know that your mom had a lot of influence on your passion for events because she was an amazing party host herself. Can you tell us more about her and the type of events that you were surrounded by growing up?
Sure. So I always thought my mom was she was the working Martha Stewart. So if Martha Stewart wasn't a, Susie Homemaker, if you will, she was the working one. But she always, every party we had was to the nines, and like she would not rest literally until that first person walked in the door. And it had to be perfect. There had to be, the right food, the right colors, the right this. My sister and I always, growing up, we had like the greatest birthday parties, from makeup parties to you name it, whatever. And yeah, when I think just kind of seeing that, and then in high school, I did from student council president to prom to homecoming, all of those things.
Wow.
I was. High school was like those were my jam years. Way better than college, personally, but whatever. College was fine too. But yeah, it was just a great opportunity to really learn and grow and see what events were about. And I think what started early for me was just the gratification of not only putting something on and dreaming it up and working with a team, and I've always been like a team-oriented person. I love people, but also having the opportunity to see it come to fruition, and then people go, "Oh my gosh, this was awesome!" And you're like, "Great, yes!" Like, I'm so glad you thought that. Yeah. So my mom definitely instilled just that, always wanting to be the hostess with the mostest. Yeah. And I can tell I'm starting to wear off on my 6-year-old because everyone always jokes. They're like, "Wow, she's so attentive to what people want," and I'm like, Yes, girl, get it.
Keep going.
Perfect. What types of events did you start planning on your own at first, and what led you to eventually plan your own weddings?
Yeah, so I started in the bar and bat mitzvah industry. So I'm from a town in Jersey. There just happens to be a lot of Jewish people. My mom is in the medical profession, and her best friend is a doctor. And she was like, "Hey," so I had gone to college, and things just didn't pan out as I was hoping. I had a boyfriend from high school. We went to college, didn't work, came home. Anyways, so when I was home, I was like, this is not for me. Like, I should be in the sorority at college. I'm not really sure why I'm here doing this community thing, but here we are. So what can I do to like make this better? And Debbie, my client Debbie, she was like, "Well, Will's bar mitzvah's coming up. Can you help me do invitations for it?" And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, what do I do? Like, what do we write, Yeah. And so between Google and her and, just the past things that she had been to, we started planning, and once you're in with that circle, you kind of just stay in that circle, which is really nice. And so I got passed from one mom to the next, and it was like 3 years of doing that before I came out to San Diego. And when I got here, they're not as big out here as they are. Like East Coast ones are just big and bold, and like they're literally a wedding, but for a 13-year-old and no bride or groom, right? So when I came out here, weddings just seemed to be the best next fit. And I met my best friend now, and we decided to go in on a partnership together and open a wedding planning company. And before you knew it, here I am. I think 7 years later. I don't even know. 7 years, I think.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Maybe longer. I don't even know. Probably 10 years, because I've been married 10 years. So yeah. And I moved out here when I got married.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aside from planning, I've also read that you used to design stationery. Can you tell us a little more about that, and if you're still doing any paper goods today?
Yeah, so like I said, I started doing the invitation for this one bar mitzvah, and kind of got into it a little bit. But what I have learned through all of my trials and everything is I really love to have my hand in every piece of the design process because I think it all needs to correlate and it all needs to make sense. And so we do offer it. It's not something I'm actively seeking. I think there are some amazing stationers here in San Diego that we definitely jive well with and love to see their product. But it's for, a specific client that really wants that cohesive look and that one-stop shop to where they're not having to work with multiple people and explain their vision. So yeah, we do offer it.
Nice.
Yeah.
At what point did you start getting more into rentals and decor?
So this company, To Be Designed, is mine, but prior to that, it was Lauren Sharon Vintage Rentals. So I bought it in 2016. At the time, I had thought I was going to retire from wedding planning because I was about to give birth to my second baby. And I just really couldn't figure out how was I going to deal with brides all day long and also have two little ones running around and, all the life, right? And so Lauren and I went and had coffee and I just said, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm actually selling my business. And something just literally was like, I threw up the words, well, can I buy it? And she was like, wait, what? You just had a baby? Like, how is this possible? And I was like, no, for real, can I buy it? Like, what would this do? Because I had been doing design freelance for Ashley, my ex-partner, and it was working really, really well. I loved it. I mean, putting together style pages and organizing all the rentals and flowers and everything is like, that's the fun part, in my opinion, of wedding planning.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this seems to work. And then when Lauren's thing popped up, I went, oh, well, this is great. Now I can have all the things to myself. And I literally thought, you guys, it was like, I'm just gonna throw all this crap on a truck and deliver it. It'll be so easy and so fun. I forgot that there was breakdown. I forgot that there were, that I'd have to drive a truck. I forgot that I needed actual muscle to like get this stuff onto a truck. Like,
yourself?
I was in the beginning, but it was like, wait a second, I need other people to help do this. And so it's morphed and transitioned into what it is today, but about almost 4 years ago now.
Wow, well, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
So let's backtrack just a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that you said that you were living in New Jersey and that's where you grew up. What brought you out to San Diego in the first place?
Marriage, a hubby.
Good reason.
Yeah, good reason. He's in the Navy, so he got stationed here, and this is just where we've stayed, thank God.
We're going to dive into business. In only under 4 years, TBD has exploded, and you recently just moved to a much larger warehouse to continue growing your collection. What has made the company so successful among other rental decor companies in Socal?
In my opinion, in my opinion, I would say, honestly, the fact that we actually do design. So most rental companies, you're going to call them, you're going to say, I need 200 chairs, 20 tables, X, Y, Z. You're kind of putting it together. Yeah. Versus when clients come to us, we're asking them pretty much, I would imagine, what wedding planners still ask to this day of like, okay, let's talk about the flow. Let's talk about the logistics. Who's coming in? Do you have X person for catering? What style is your catering? What style is the food? And really actually walking through those details with them to figure out what it is that they need. And that's not necessarily with every planner, but for sure with just the direct bride, they need that. So I would say that, and I would say that we don't ever repeat the same design twice. I refuse. Yeah. That's been like my motto since day one. So even if I have to do the white, green, blush wedding, I try so hard to like at least infuse something different, something, because I just think it makes all the difference. It's about them. It's not about anything else,
Yeah, who wouldn't want a personal stylist for their wedding? It's like personal touches, little details, and most couples don't hire like a designer on board. So with you like putting that as part of like your services, that's a huge like game changer in the industry.
Yeah, and it really stemmed out of when Ashley and I were working together. And you can attest to this as being a planner, there are so many things that day that you're focused on. And really your job is to be attentive to the bride. What are her needs? What are her mom's needs? Dad, everybody's needs. And then, oh, by the way, the DJ just showed up and now he needs a table of linen. Where's the table and the linen? And so we would do this kind of funny little back and forth for all those years. And finally, about a year into our partnership, we just divided and conquered. So it was like, okay, you're all bride, your timeline, you're this, and I will literally deal with vendor arrival, arrival, vendor setup, what does it look like? Our tables, you know, we cringed when a rental company would come and they would literally put a table with the chairs and then they'd sit the next table right next to it. And we're like, dude, no one can back up and like get in their chair. How is this possible, you know? But she couldn't be down there to manage that and oversee that. So I think what we've tried to explain to our couples and to our planners, who really are our biggest source of client, is when you're on site, my goal is that you don't have to worry a single minute about what's happening in a ballroom or on, you know, X lawn or whatever, because we're there, our team knows how to actually do it the right way, and they care, genuinely care. So that when you come back down, all you're doing is literally putting a check mark in your box on your paperwork of done, moving on to the next, you know?
We don't have to adjust the tables. We don't have to adjust the chairs.
Right, or like they put the wrong linen. Yes, or they put the wrong linen on the tables and you're like, no, we didn't ask for blue linens. We want it. Or backwards, upside down.
Yeah, upside down.
Oh, we've had, So that in general, I think is what really is super important to me, is making sure that being that there, I think, are 2 jobs to a day, that one job is handled flawlessly and the other job's handled flawlessly, but together as a team, we make that happen.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of The Wedding Remix. And now it's time for our first sponsor, the Virtual Event Collective. The Virtual Event Collective combines state-of-the-art broadcast solutions with a turnkey studio facility to transform any type of event into a stunning live stream experience. Services include in-house set design, production teams, and event registration and engagement tools to create a seamless, customized virtual experience. Visit thevirtualeventcollective.com. And now back to our interview with Jillian Ziska.
Of course, all businesses come with their challenges and growing pains. What has been the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome along the way while building TBD?
Growth in general is just, like you said, it's challenging, right? So it's a blessing and it's a curse, because it feels so good and it's so gratifying to grow and know that people want what you have, right? But at the same time, you can almost get into this over-promise, under-deliver situation. And we had a couple of instances, I mean, I think in any business you do, but just where we would say yes, 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 yes to everything, because we felt this need to prove, well, if I'm not doing every single wedding, I clearly haven't made it yet, right? And so I think that, which then in turn leads to figuring out who your client is. Like, maybe everybody's not my client, and that's okay, and being okay with that. So I would say those are like my 2 biggest challenges on the front end. And then ultimately on the back end, just in any company, people. It's hard to find people who care. I finally have the most incredible team, but it took so long and so many trials and heartbreak and everything to get to where I am, and to realize who are the best people for the right seats, you know?
So you mentioned your kind of ideal client a little bit. Can you talk more about that and who that is?
Yeah, my ideal client is someone who knows what they want, but they're not going to be the person who's going to tell me how to do my job. So they're gonna say, I love this color, they're gonna give me a direction. Honestly, their Pinterest board is kind of all over the place, right? Like, which sounds kind of like, why would you want that? But no, it helps me, because then I can go through and decipher, okay, they pin this for a reason, what is it? And I can find trends throughout, even if they go all the way from a tropical wedding up to the most rustic whatever wedding. I can figure out what's their common denominator in that. So I feel like it's someone who knows what they want, but they're not necessarily gonna put it together themselves. It's somebody who values the one-stop shop, that is totally down with us handling all aspects of the design process. And it's ultimately someone who just has faith that it's all gonna come together, and allowing me to talk about and be candid of like, no, you can't have that. I'm really sorry. I want to give that to you, but you can't have that because you decided to choose a buffet. So there's really no sense in us having this beautiful place setting that you're going to spend $20 a piece on if you're going to just go to a buffet and you don't want to carry your plate to the buffet. So I don't know what to tell you. Right, exactly. So, you know, I think just having people who are willing and able to trust in the process is huge.
you've talked a lot about working with clients as well as also working with planners. Do you have a preference of working directly with a client or with a planner?
I love my planners. I love my planners. I think, like I said, it's a partnership, right? So the first thing when if a direct client is calling me, I'm like, okay, so who are we working with? And they're like, well, no one.
Make my life easier.
Yes, and I'm like, well, no one. And I'm like, great. So let me ask your budget. You know, and I'll ask them so many invasive questions that maybe like the normal rental company wouldn't ask. And I think at first they kind of get a little freaked out, but I'm like, no, I need to get you to someone to pull this off because I'm not showing up if you don't have a planner. Period. Because then what happens is someone always, doesn't matter if it's the DJ, the caterer, they always get pinpointed and they're like, that's it, that's my planner. And I'm like, no, honey, they are not your planner. Yes, and then we end up doing all the work. And then of course, you know, if something doesn't go right, who's the first person to blame? Us, you know? So planners, hands down, I would work with them 10 times over. And we've set ourselves up in the marketplace to do that. Are we for every planner? No. But that's okay. The ones that I am for, I absolutely love, and we just have fun. Yeah. And I think that's what's so important about our job. It's so stressful that you have to at least be with a group of people that you genuinely enjoy and want to be with on that day, because if not, aside from being stressed out about whatever's happening, you're going to be even more stressed when you're working with people that like maybe you don't trust or you don't just jive with in general, you know? So planners, for sure.
As far as your design process, do you have any like designer tools, or like how do you incorporate like technology into your design elements to like help sell your product?
Actually, it's like so basic, and it's the Microsoft Word of Mac. So it's Pages, if you guys have Pages. I literally do everything in Pages. I am a whiz at it. I am so comfortable in it, and the girls have tried. They're like, can you do it in PowerPoint? I'm like, no, I cannot go to PowerPoint. Like, forget it. So between Pages and then Canva, do you guys use Canva?
Yeah.
So we'll use Canva occasionally, and then obviously all seated for when we do, you know, diagrams or just need to have more of that 3D rendering. But I've been learning how to sketch, so that's kind of been fun.
How's that going?
It's going. It's going. I fake it till I make it, right? Isn't that what this whole job is about?
Maybe we'll have you sketch something for us later.
Oh God, please don't. No.
We can all try. We
can try. Yes, we can try. I mean, like I said, I can draw some vines, and I've got a little bit of a floral thing going on. But other than that, you know, don't have me draw this. That's for sure. It'll look like a lot of scribbles.
I love it. In addition to rental and design services for events, TBD also offers interior design for clients, homes, and businesses, right? Tell us more about it.
We do, yeah. So it's always been a passion project. I think so much of your event is relevant to your home, right? So again, like I said, we ask, where do you shop? What is your house? You know, what does your house look like? And so the home side of it, as we've grown and people have started to see our aesthetic and just what it looks like, and also just see a certain piece, and they'll be like, I love that piece. Where do I buy that? And I'm like, well, it's mine, but I could give you my sort, you know. Right, for the right price, exactly. And so we've had some neat opportunity to just do a few smaller things. We dabbled in staging when the company was really young. And it worked, but we realized we needed a secondary inventory to make it happen, because the shelf life is just so different than events. And so, but I really loved that, because it's kind of fun. You get to like just go in, you drop it, and then you out. You know, it's like you don't have to go back. There's not the constant turnover, the turn and burn of everything. So what we did this year is, and we're trying it, it's still new, but at this point, sky's the limit, right? Because like, if you don't try, you're never gonna know if it could be successful. So we started To Be Decorated. It's a curated box for your home. So the idea would be, you've been sitting in your home now for 3 months, and you're looking at the pillows on your couch, and they're disheveled. They like barely have any, you know, fluff left in them or whatever. Or you see it next to your TV, like this vase that has a crack in it, and the plant has like totally died, and you know, just nothing is super. It's just not happy. Like nothing in your house is making you happy, and you have to spend all this time there. We have some already pre-packaged, and then we're also encouraging clients to reach out, clients or new clients, whoever, to reach out and go, okay, this is my room. This is what I currently have. I like X, Y, and Z. What can you do to add to it? And then we'll put together a curated box for them. Might be a bunch of new pillows, maybe a throw blanket, maybe some random tchotchkes that they can put wherever. And then we pack it all up and send it to them with some kind of design tips and tricks on like put things in threes. And you know, if you have a smaller room, use a mirror and use lighter colors in smaller spaces. Things like that are just kind of general practice things, but easy to do. And then hopefully from there they get like a brand new space that they're happy with and comfortable with. So we're trying it.
Yeah, or they'll ask you to come in and do more.
Which that I would love.
Way more than just
I would
pillows and
love.
mirrors.
Yeah, I don't know. I love interiors, so I think I get to do it a lot in the wedding side of things. But it's just, there's something about being in someone's home and truly making it a home because you're there all the time.
You're like the Pinterest that meets Amazon, that meets
Yes.
IKEA, that
Yes.
meets hardware.
Yes.
That's so cool. And then you could do like virtual consulting.
I would love that. We did. My girlfriend lives in Brooklyn, and she just moved into a little apartment. She's like, please help. She saw our post or something, and she was like, wait a second, you're doing interiors now? And I was like, well, you know, I've always done them. And she was like, well, but how do I do this? And I went, okay, girl, I got you. Tell me what you have. So she literally sent me a picture of all the things that she was bringing with her to the new apartment. I put together a style page. I sent it to her, and I go, what do you think? And she goes, done. How do I get it? And I'm like, perfect. Here you go. And it felt so good. And we literally ordered everything for her. We packed it all up. She actually got one of her boxes today. And then, you know, we give like a shopping list. So I'm not going to carry beds. I'm not going to carry beds. Like there's only certain things that I want to carry under the TBD umbrella. But I'm gonna for sure present you with a shopping list so you can go shopping and you get I feel like in shopping you get the gratification of like, getting new stuff and I bought it and like it's cool, but you might not have picked it out, but like you're doing it and then it comes and it just feels good for people. So by me being able to give you those exact pieces and then from there we just kind of get to accent it all.
So you recently just collaborated and launched the Virtual Event Collective to address the growing demand for virtual events. Can you tell us a little bit more about that business and how our viewers could partner with you with that?
Yeah, so it really stemmed out of a conversation with Armando of Encore. I called him one day. We had a team meeting internally, and one of the girls on my team was like, well, what about doing like sets for commercials or whatever? And I was like, oh, cool. But we don't have we don't have cameras, we don't have any of this. So like, how do we do this? And then I called Armando and I was like, Armando, I have this idea. And he was like, okay, go. And you know, I pitched it and he was like, perfect, I had the same idea. Let's do this, you know? So it was just this really easy transition to work together. And then we have brought other partners on throughout the period of just figuring out what's needed and trying to fill the gap in the industry. It's still something so new that I think people don't really fully understand the capabilities and what we can actually do for them. But just like with the TBD brand, our main thing is trying to create something that is unique and that really the experience is everything in that you're not just gonna get on some screen and there's a black backdrop or a green screen behind you and, you know, film or broadcast whatever it is you're trying to get out there to the world. We're gonna do stuff like this where it's colorful and it's bright and it's fun or it represents who you are, your brand, or and it really being more of a personal situation, because I think this is, in events at least, and maybe not for like corporate meetings and things like that, but for the majority of events, there is so much of the personality infused into it. And I think that that's ultimately what people are gonna miss the most of like, well, wait, we were gonna, you know, I've had corporate that is like, well, we were gonna have a Van Gogh party. Like, how are we gonna have the Van Gogh party, you know? And it's like, well, cool, let's, you know, come up with with a really cool backdrop and, you know, just the props and the set and everything where we can film this and make it feel like you're still there, because we're in the feeling-based world, industry, everything. And so it's been really cool. You know, Armando focuses on what he's amazing at, which is the tech side. Like I said, I know nothing about it. And then I get to focus on the pretty and just make it really pretty. So it's been working out. It's a really great symbiotic relationship.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad that it's working out for you guys. I'm excited to see what comes next for the company.
Me too. Every day's new. So it's always fun too.
So what's next for TBD?
Well, we've got To Be Decorated in the works. We've got the VEC going. We've got TBD. We've got some fun projects kind of in the works that are coming in the fall that we're really excited about, and we'll be talking about that soon, hopefully. But yeah, just kind of trying. I mean, honestly, trying to figure out what is going to happen in general, right? what's next for everyone. And I think just trying to be as versatile and adaptable as I possibly can.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
We had
guys.
such an amazing time and just learning about your journey, and congratulations on new endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that part of our show, and now it's time for our venue showcase. Our venue today is AV Irvine. AV Irvine is Orange County's hottest meeting and event destination. Located just blocks away from the Irvine Spectrum, it encompasses over 25,000 square feet of fully customizable event spaces on 2 floors. This first of its kind venue was built from the ground up and designed by leading industry professionals to be the ultimate space for events of all sizes. AV is synonymous with technology, featuring an incredible 30-foot LED wall, state-of-the-art sound and lighting, and an in-house event and production staff. It features 26-foot ceilings and access doors for larger-than-life events with oversized decor and vehicles. AV Irvine will comfortably sit 600 guests seated and 1,000 guests standing. Whatever your style, AV Irvine has the versatility to fit your vision, from contemporary to whimsical or modern to romantic. Hey everybody, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. You can let us know what you think of the show by commenting, liking, subscribing. Any way that you want to connect with us, we'll connect with you. Our next guest is Slomique Hawrylo. Slomique is one of a kind and just a gem in the industry. Slomique has been in the event planning industry for over 11 years, and she's sought after for her unique design experience and expertise. From a young age, Slomique always told herself that she had to seize the moments of opportunity that life granted in order to be successful. Slomique's talent took her to the next level when Colin Cowley's television show on Lifetime called for her expertise on the most trendy, non-traditional wedding favors of 2007. Her talent was further used by Oprah's network in 2012, when they enlisted her to do a mini documentary focusing on motherhood and entrepreneurship. Slomique's personality and passion for her work had Oprah's network wanting more. And in 2013, Home Made Simple, an Emmy award-winning show to the network, was her next success story, where she lent her DIY party skills to the audience. From custom DIY photo booths to mini kids' tables with custom lunchboxes, Slomique left the other experts wowed by her creativity. For several years, Slomique also had the pleasure of working with the phenomenal David Tutera on his hit television show, David Tutera Celebrations. Above all, she is a married mother of 3 who enjoys her family time, movies, reading, laughing, and a great cup of coffee. We're so excited to have her on the show today, so please welcome Slomique.
Slomique, our queen, thank you so much for joining us today.
It is such an honor and a pleasure. I'm excited to be here. So I'm an open book.
Yay.
I always start off that way. So if you really want honesty, I'm the person to call.
Yes, perfect. We're so excited to interview you today. We're gonna break the ice and get to know small little random details about you.
Okay.
Who or what inspires you today?
I'm inspired by anyone who's willing to do the work on themselves, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So anyone in that realm and who's really ready to be authentic, that's who I'm inspired by.
Okay, amazing. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I received, which is really funny, is from a really good friend of mine and a co-star of mine, Mr. Montre Burton. When I first started David Tutera Celebrations, no one has ever lasted as long as I've lasted, right? And so I was in my 2-week realm. And he pulled me aside, didn't really know me at the time, and he said to me, I just need you to continue being you. That is enough.
Great.
Yeah.
Right? Because you being you is what is allowing you to be here. And I don't want anyone else to get in your head about who you are and who you should be, because you're enough. And I think once I heard that, because I didn't always think I was enough, once I heard that and I accepted that, because he didn't have to say it, you know, he didn't really know me. I was one of his co-stars and I was new on the show. I took that and ran with it, and my life has never been the same. I think we ran for a good 4 seasons, right? And my television career, just me being me, has allowed me to continue. And I think, and that was after I was already on Oprah's network, right? It was him who said to me, just be you. Yeah. And that was like the best advice.
So great. Do you have a favorite quote?
Do I have a favorite quote? I do. It is from Denzel Washington, and it says, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. That's my favorite quote.
I want to know, what are you most grateful for right now?
I am most grateful for time. I had a client out of New York, very successful, right? And I think if enough people sit down and listen, there's direction for your life, right? I think the universe gives you little directions, and some people choose to listen, and some people choose to just to keep moving. And I had this client who was really, really successful in New York, and he was talking about time. And he said that no matter how rich or poor you are, everyone has the same amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And what we choose to do with time is completely up to us. We all have 24 hours in a day, but we walk around like it never ends. And he said if people stop to understand time, they would maneuver through life differently, right? It's kind of like if your parents bought you your first car. My mom bought me my first car, right? And if your parents buy you your first car, and they said, this is the only car that you're going to have for the rest of your life. You're not gonna get a new one. You're gonna die with this car. This is it. You would take care of that car differently if you knew that that was going to be it, right? And so understanding time allows me to know that's all I'm going to get. And so when it comes my way, I take it and I make the best use of my time. And my children, I know my children I am so tired of my mother if she tells us to do another thing, because my question to my children is constantly, what are you doing with your time?
Yeah.
How much time did you put towards this? And how much did you fill your day that can equate to the amount of time that you were given, right? And so people say, well, you know, what do your kids do every day? My kids wake up every day at 6:30. While someone else is sleeping till 10, my children have already had a 3-hour head start,
Yeah.
right? And so, or 4-hour head start. So it's allowing my children to understand that time is really your friend if you know how to use it. And so when people ask me now, what do you, time? In this time, I've welcomed this 5 months that I've been able to rearrange my life and really self-evaluate. And that's why I would tell people, especially in this industry, don't look at what is going on right now as half empty, your glass is half empty. Look at it as, oh my goodness, I have time to self-reflect. I have time to look at the person that I have been for the last 15, 10, 5 years and ask myself, do I like what I am putting out, right? Because I think we all have an idea of who we think we are, right? We do. I'm like, I think I'm fabulous. But to somebody else, they're like, oh, that,
We think you're fabulous.
Thank you. But understanding that, do you like who you are? Do you like where you are? And do you like what you've been putting out? And that can be your career, who you are as a person. But if you're not taking this time to self-reflect, to try, and it doesn't even matter what you believe in, right? Taking the time to ask yourself, have I been the best me the last 5 years, the last 2 years, the last month? Have I been that perfect wife? Not perfect, but best. Have I been that best mother? Have I been that best business partner? Have I been that best planner? Have I been that best designer? And what does that look like? And self-reflect. If you say no, if you're a designer, you can't sketch, Well, in these 5 months, I hope you've learned how to sketch.
Yeah.
In these 5 months, I hope you've learned how to do renderings. In this 5 months, I hope you learn how to do Illustrator and Photoshop. These are the things that I'm hoping that you've taken the time out to be the full greatness that you have been designed to be. And if you're not taking the time that has been given to you, when we all start back up again and we all get back into the world, if you haven't taken that time and you're showing up as the same person you were back in February,
We got a problem.
and so if you are in this industry and you're wondering why you're not getting to where you want to be,
Yeah.
allocate your time. How much time are you watching TV? Or how much time are you on the phone, gossiping? How much time are you on Instagram watching other people maximize their time
Yeah.
while you're sitting there wondering why they got what they got and you don't have what you have, right? You have to sit down and do inventory at this time. And when you put the work in, and I mean eat, sleep, and breathe. Before I even started in this industry and I wanted to get in, I made sure that I read every book that was out there.
Yeah.
Like I read. And then even to this day, I wake up in the morning and I read what's going on in, fashion, in Europe in fashion, in Europe in events. Because if you look at Europe, they do events totally different than how we do them.
Yeah.
And if you understand the science behind how they do their events and bring that back, you're already on top of your game and ahead of a lot of other people, right? And so if you're not where you want to be, I ask the question, how much time have you put in to where you want to be? Are you waking up, eat, sleep, and breathe it? I have 3 kids. And when I started my career, I had 2 more, right? So I started with 1, and I had 2 more. And people say, well, how did you do it? I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
I would give, because I approach everything with greatness. So I approach motherhood with greatness. But I also approach my career with greatness. And so when I would get my kids to sleep, I was up to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, making sure I gave what I wanted to be successful the same amount of time that I was giving to everything else in my life, my husband, my children, and my career. And so although I wasn't sleeping, I was moving. And for someone says, I just can't make it because this person's taking my clients and this person's doing this or this person's doing that. Those are excuses.
Yeah.
Because if you put in the time, people wouldn't be worried about who's doing that over there because the universe will balance it, right? And so I would say to a lot of people in the event industry, even the ones who are really, really successful, are you stagnant, right? Have you reached a place in your career where you're just stagnant?
Yeah.
And if the question is yes, because you've been in it for so long, how do you reinvent yourself? How do you start a new challenge for yourself? How do you change so that it fits the next chapter of your life? Because, I'm gonna tell you right now, at 50, I'm not designing anybody's events. That's just not what I want to do anymore, right? I want to be able, when people check back in, to say, oh, shoot, she's doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to keep going. So 5 years from now, what am I doing? Another 5 years from now, where am I? When I'm 65, what am I doing? And if I'm still doing the same thing, depending on if it's a passion or not, because I think people can do it forever.
Yeah.
But you must redefine, because if you want to stay relevant, right? How many people you've known have been in the industry and they're no longer relevant,
Yeah.
right? Like you're like, how are they still on top?
Happens.
They're still doing the same exact thing, and it's because they didn't plan for the 5. How do I want to be seen in this industry? And I think there's a time where we used to be taught that you transition to being the teacher, right? And if you want this industry to really exude greatness, right, and balance and colorfulness, we have to go back and teach. And teach in a way where we don't want anything in return.
Our show's not over, but we have 2 more sponsors to thank. Of course, TBD San Diego and Encore Event Entertainment, the production team, for making all of this possible. To Be Designed is San Diego's most unique and custom rental design house. TBD creates memorable moments by creating things their clients wish existed. To Be Designed started with offering unique selections of event rentals, and it is still the cornerstone of the business. From sofas to dining to custom bars, they have everything you need to bring your event to life. They are constantly updating the inventory to stay fresh and unique. Be sure to check them out at tbdsandiego.com. It's all about the experience. Encore Entertainment's premier level showmanship and talent is guaranteed to create a one-of-a-kind experience for your event. Encore has provided award-winning entertainment to some of the most lavishly designed events worldwide and is equally celebrated as a trusted source of talent amongst the elite in the event industry. Encore provides incredible live music for extraordinary events with a continuous variety of evolving live and virtual music options. Connect with the Encore team and begin creating the soundtrack for your next live or virtual event. Visit us at encorexp.com. And now let's get back to our interview with Slomique.
In this industry, no matter how great you become and where you are, because wherever you are in your career, wherever you are in your career, you are someone's beacon of light and hope, right? Mm-hmm. And if you maneuver through life that way, you're going to realize that you're making a difference and you're inspiring when you're just being you. When you're just being you. So I hope that as we sit and we talk about events, we talk about the emotional part, because events are emotional, right? They're draining. You're a therapist. You're everything, right?
Yeah.
Like you're everything.
Your wardrobe, your designer,
You're all of
the
above.
janitor.
Yes, yes. And it's really funny because to this day, I still do grunt work. Mm-hmm. I think doing grunt work humbles you.
Yep.
I don't care if it's picking up a piece of trash. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it is moving a chair to one space to another. I think when you get to a point in your career that you think you're too good and you make too much money to do the grunt work, you're going to lose the success that has come to you. Mm-hmm. Because what that happens is you no longer inspire your team. You put a rift between you and your team that you are above, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I have the same team I've had since I began.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay?
Wow.
No one has left me. Mm-hmm. And I've hired new people on, but no one has ever left me. And it's because they know that I'm invested in them.
Mm-hmm. And they're invested in you.
And they're invested in me. And I think that's the kind of team that you want. And not to be afraid to, you don't have to, I think, say that I'm the boss, right? You don't have to say it.
No.
They know it. They know you're the boss. But they respect the fact that you're the boss when you're here with them.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going to do the same thing you do. I'm going to run across Monarch Beach Resort, which is one of those resorts that I hate working at because it's so far. Beautiful resort, but oh my God. But if I send my team member to run all the way across, believe me, throughout that day, I'm gonna at least run one time across and back to ensure that they see that I'm never gonna ask you to do something that I wouldn't do. Mm-hmm. And I think those are the different formulas of success. And being open to take their criticism, right?
So important. Mm-hmm. Got to be willing to listen.
You got to be willing, and sometimes it's not that great, right?
Give and take both
ways.
It's
a give and take. How can I be a better inspiration? Not boss, but how can I be a better inspiration for you so that you are producing the best work for what we're doing here as a team, right? So I take my team traveling with me. If I'm going to New York, they come with me to New York. And my clients understand that they are my team. Mm-hmm. And I don't trust any other team. And so, because I know that they will do all that they can to ensure that we're all successful and that we all look good. Mm-hmm. And so I think as we are building our careers in this industry, your team has to be a reflection of your philosophies.
Yeah.
Right? I can go on forever. I tell you I can. I really can. It's like there's no pause button. It's like, what else do you want to know?
Yeah. It's great.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What's one celebrity event that sticks out in your mind?
Okay, so for good or bad?
Either, or one of each. We want balance.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you two
Okay,
that
cool.
that stick out. One for fun, and then one for just for creativeness and purposes. One of my most creative, outside the box weddings was for Johan of Lincoln Park. Okay, and the reason why is because they were very unique in what they liked. So, you know those little bears that look like they're like plastic, but they're like, I want to say that they're like origami kind of bears, but they wanted one on every table to give away. But they're really expensive. They're really expensive. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I incorporate that into a design?
Yeah.
Right? And literally, they're like these plastic bears. They're really popular in Asia, okay? And there's these plastic bears, and each guest, and they're really expensive, and each guest goes home one. And then she wanted one into center of the table as one, as a bears, yes. And then she says, oh, and by the way, we want an RTD2 3D cake.
Wow.
But she also wanted it to be completely fabulous, like the whole wedding to be completely fabulous. And we were at the Vibiana, and to tell you how outside the box they were, their engagement photos where they were superheroes with capes and the whole nine in downtown, yes. And so for someone who's really, I'm not rigid, but I like everything balanced, design-wise, how to incorporate who they are and tell the story effortlessly and not like we're trying too hard, right? And how do you pair the quirkiness of their personalities, right, with this glamorous event? And I am not one when I'm designing to change people's ideas, right? I try to figure out, because I think that's your true challenge, right? That is your true challenge of how do you get someone's personality and take that information and build something great from it, even though it is an obstacle. And I always tell clients that my job is to get guests to get to know you better as if they never met you. So if it's a bride and a groom, there's people that's on the bride's side that the groom never met. So I like to make sure that I incorporate his personality into the design. And so just in case he's not able to reach that particular relative or friend during the night, they get a piece of him and who he is, and by how we implement the design, right? Even down to, like, I'm not very traditional. And that's, I think, what I've learned in doing events for different types of people. So when people hire me, they know they're not going to get cookie cutter. And they know it's not always about how many flowers I have on the table. It's not always about what linen or table, especially table that I designed and chose to use, or the chair that I chose to use, but the experience, right? And sometimes you can't capture the experience. I had this one celebrity couple tell me, our wedding was the most epic wedding ever. And the design was beautiful, right? She was a very simple girl and didn't like flowers, so we did everything in candles. But the experience from the moment we said that she was getting married and we had the invitation, down to the end of the night, what we heard was, oh my gosh, this is epic. Did you guys see this? Did you guys experience that? And I think that sometimes we go too far in making things pretty. People can only sit and see the prettiness. Right? So once you're done with the grand finale, because right, it's when they walk into the room, that is a 5 to 10 minute show. Right? The next question after that is, what's next? After they've seen the flowers and the chairs and the table and the place setting and all the little details, what's next? They still have 5 hours and 45 minutes of an event that they need to get through. And so how do you make that an experience? And I understand that I think I got into a point in my career where the big showiness is not as important to me in my design as the experience of every moment from the invitation. From the moment they walk in, if that's putting a bathroom attendant in the restroom, and so each time you go to the restroom, you have an experience even in their restroom, or if it is when you do a, so like for example, I did a wedding. So whenever someone hires me, I do everything the opposite, right? So I do a walkthrough of the venue, especially somewhere I haven't been before. And I said, okay, tell me what you guys normally do here. And they'll go through the whole spiel, right? Okay, so we're gonna do everything opposite, right? And the reason why I do that is because you only have so many venues in California, in New York, and Chicago, right? You only have so many venues. And people have experienced those venues over and over and over and over again. And usually a sales rep will always tell you the norm. Oh, so you have your pictures here, and the brides do this here, and they take their engagements there, and they'll do their first look here, and then this is how we set the room up. And so when I design, one of my processes is I walk through and I go, okay, so don't do that, and don't do that, and don't do that. The ceremony is this way. What happens if we flip it that way? Because then what happens is your photography is different, right? The experience of the guests who've probably already been there is different. And then I asked the team to send me over every floor plan that has been done in that space.
Wow.
So then I'm not recreating a reel. So I'm sitting trying to put it all together, but I see that this been done, this been done, this been done, this been done. So then I pull that over to the side and say, okay, what hasn't been done? And then you do that. And so I was doing a nighttime ceremony. And this is one of my favorite moments. And we started cocktail first. And in starting cocktail first, they got to experience, this really phenomenal cocktail hour. But we had a doo-wop band singing in this acoustic hallway, right? And then when it was time for the guest to go to the ceremony, because we were waiting for sun to set because everything was by candlelight, the doo-wop band sung them all the way to the ceremony. And when you experience something like that, right? And there's no guitar, it's totally a cappella. When you experience that, not only do your guests get intrigued, but the guests of the hotel or the venue are intrigued. And they're wondering like, oh my God, what's going on? But it's giving the guests an experience that this is not your ordinary wedding, right? This is not your ordinary experience. And so from there, we had the grand entrance. And when we did the grand entrance, it was important for me to make sure it was different. And I told the client, I said, give me a song that you really love. And no one would come in on this song. No one, because it was a live band. It was like a 20-piece band. It was a live band. And it was We Will Rock You. And I said, so this is what I want to do. And I said, I want to get the guest involved. So.
Oh my God.
Right? So we had all the guests doing that. We didn't have a big wedding party. We had the wedding party sit down. And before the couple came in, we had already did the first verse of that song. Because what I find when you do grand entrance, it becomes very dull. And then you become like, oh, let's do the flash mob and let's do this. And so when they came in, the energy.
They loved it.
It's the experience, right? And so they come in, they do their first dance, and I said, okay, so what's next? And so one of the things I knew that her group of people wasn't big dancers. So I hired a hype crew to come out, because no one knew, and that's what opened the dance floor, was this huge hype crew, all like high school, college students that rocked the entire place to a Beyonce, Jay-Z song.
Oh my gosh.
And these are like executives and, but when my client's father takes me out after the wedding. And he says, I got this email. And my client's father was really well-to-do. And he goes, but it really belongs to you. And they were saying how they never experienced a wedding like that. Now, mind you, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But what happened, have you ever been to a wedding when it's so beautiful, but there's nothing else? Right? It's like, it was cute. Right? And so I think planners and designers have to challenge themselves. So if you're a florist and you're designing a piece, right, and you get that opportunity to add that little tweak, and sometimes we're all about our bottom line, and sometimes what we have to do is add that extra as a marketing budget item, okay? Add it as a marketing budget item, because whatever that tweak is that they weren't expecting, that will also make people go, what the was that, right? That was worth the budget.
Yep.
And that was it's worth more than that Instagram post, it's worth more than the Facebook ad.
They won't even think about the budget.
No, and it's worth it. And so sometimes I think when you're planning a wedding or you plan an event, we get so stuck on the bottom line, and we all have to make a profit. But I always add something that is a signature to me that will make every person who experienced an event that I've produced make them say, whoa, even if my client can't afford it, right? And I think sometimes when you're looking at branding and PR and marketing, don't forget to allocate that budget towards your events, right? A lot of times we get so caught up in the line item, because it's their event, and we get so caught up in the line item. It's going to cost you this, it's going to cost you this, it's going to cost you this, that we forget that here is an opportunity for 300, 400 people to touch, feel, and see your product. And you choose to line item so much that you don't allow a little bit to be a part of your marketing and PR and branding budget.
Thank you, Slomique, for your time today. We learned so much, and we feel so inspired. We can't wait to see what's next for you. And we're going to keep following your journey and hope that you come back again for a follow-up.
I promise you, anytime that you want me to come back, if my calendar is ready, I'm ready.
Thank you.
Okay?
Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, that's our show for this week. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We're so glad you could be with us. We'll see you next week. We have an amazing show for you. And of course, like, follow, comment, subscribe, connect with us. We can't wait to hear from you. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.